I've been doing this only for a couple of years as far as actually putting content out there for people to consume, but I've obviously followed the Lions my entire life in sports, and I've been hooked on radio sports broadcasting my entire life. And I've hung my hat on thinking that everything that they said was truth and fact, and that they always had the inside scoop on everything. And that was always the way I've always operated. And it's become so clear to me, not only through this incident, but over the past 3, 4, 5 years that I've really tried to dive into Lions football and again, creating content, now doing this with you, where it's clear that there's so much of an agenda attached to a lot of these media outlets, and they all have to have a story and a hook and something that's going to get a click. And I mean, it's obvious. And I mean, I think we're all not immune to it. And I'm embarrassed almost to a certain extent, because I took and ran with that Perget story like it was fact. And like Ragnow had a contract dispute, and that was the only thing holding this up. And it was then so clear when he retired. Of course that was it. Of course that was it. And it's easy for me to say now. I mean, of course. And so I feel stupid because I was kind of duped. But at the same time, I'll go back to what you said here. Dan Campbell knew it, and that press conference is now very clear after the fact. And you have to imagine they've had so many conversations stemming all the way back to the end of the 23 season when he had that, he's sitting in his locker and he's telling people, I just don't feel right. My body's not there. I'm going to have to take some time. I think they all knew at that point that the reality of him playing 5, 6, 7 more years just wasn't going to be truth. They took 2 interior linemen, and again, we'll talk about what they'll do here, but it's clear they had an idea that this was a possibility. So the more and more you kind of fit these pieces together, I agree with you. Shameful to think that now, because you were wrong on a story or wrong on an angle, that I got to flip this into my favor. Let's just talk Lions. And what the truth is that Frank Ragnow was a hell of a player, a heck of a guy. He gave his life and everything to this Lions organization. And I have so much respect for a guy that can give that to someone or some people and then say, you know what, it's my time. And I'm sure between the Lions and him, they had enough conversations to say, this is what it would take for me to come back. And I'm sure Brad Holmes said, you know what, buddy, this is all we really can do at this point for anybody in your stature. And I'm sure it was just in his best interest to say, that's it for me. So that's where I'm at with this.